Hello everyone. I think you are doing well. Yeah, today I'm going to explain a little bit about breakout structure. Breakout structure, it means the breaking of previous highs and higher lows. Why do I say breakout structure and why do I want to explain this? This because for the continuation or for the series of setups that will be giving out, it will be containing the scenario of breakout structure. In the breakout structure here, it will be most of the time of different time frames. For instance, it will be for daily time frame, weekly time frame, monthly time frame, 4-hour time frame, and 1-hour time frame. So, in order to be familiar with this, with most of the setups, now I just want to explain a little bit about that, so as to be clear and to avoid more questions on your mind. Let's give a start. For instance, we have the highest point over here, and we have our lowest point down here. I think you are getting this. As normal, we know that we have two structures. We have bearish structure and bullish structure. For the case of bullish structure, we have series of highs and higher low, higher highs and higher low, higher highs and higher low. So there is a series of formation of higher highs and higher low until a certain point. What does this mean? It means that the previous high is lower than the following one. The previous high is lower than the following. The same applies to here. This high is lower than this one. Hence, make this to have a bullish structure. Like I said, bullish structure, it have elements. What are those elements of bullish structure? The elements of bullish structure are the formation of higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows. So the series formation of higher highs and higher lows, that's what makes the bullish structure. Hence, it is known as the bullish structure. It cannot be the structure without having elements. What are those elements? As I said, higher highs and higher lows. The same applies to lower to bearish. We have series of lower low, lower highs, lower low, lower highs, lower low, lower highs, as you see here until to the certain point. So the previous high, the current high is lower than the previous. The current high is lower than the previous. The current high, the current low, sorry. I repeat again. The current low is lower than the previous one. The current low is lower than the previous one. The current low is lower than the previous one. That makes us to call it lower low. Why do I say lower low? When I'm here, I call this lower low. Why do I call this lower low? Because this one is lower than the previous one. The same applies to here. Why do I call this lower low? I call this lower low because it is lower than this one. The same applies here. Hence, making this to be a bearish what? A bearish structure. I think you get the point. Now, for that case, I think you have understood the meaning of bearish structure and bullish structure. So, where does the point of breakout structure comes? The point of breakout structure comes when this bullish structure, for the case of bullish, this was our bullish structure over here, making this trend without without invalidating the elements. So when it comes the point, this highest high came down and it broke the previous higher highs and higher lows. So when it broke the previous higher highs and higher low, we say that it has broken our structure. It has broken our bullish structure. The same applies to bearish structure. When the price closes above what? Above our structure, which was having a certain series of movement over here. But when it comes and closes above, and here here it makes the point, this call this as the broken structure. It means that the closing below, the closing above of the previous lower low and lower highs, also the closing below of previous higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows, that makes us call this as break of structure, as I can name here. Break of what? Breaking of structure. The same applies to here. Make us call this a break of what? A break of structure. So by saying so, in order for the bearish structure to be broken, it means that we must close above. Close above what? Close above the previous lower lows and lower highs. For the case of bullish, in order the bullish structure to be broken, we must close below. Below what? Below the previous higher highs and higher lows. Okay, now let's see a hypothetical example of this. When you try to look here, we were having a good series of lower low, lower highs. I mean lower high, higher highs, lower high, higher highs, lower high, higher highs. Then we broke here, we broke this point. If you don't see well, we just use the line chart. The line chart shows you exactly how things went. Like you see here, this was low, this was high, this was low. Then when the price came here, it closed below and making this at the break of structure. If you don't use line chart, you can see this one is not the high. But if you use line chart, you see exactly here. This was high, this was more higher. This point here, this point over here was more higher than this one. Hence, making this one as the previous high and this one the previous lower low. Hence, the break of what? The break of structure. Hence, the breaking. Hence, and this one become the broken structure. BOS, which is equal to broken structure. Broken structure. I think get the point now. The same applies. This was lower low. I think now we get the point over here. The same applies over here. This was lower low, lower high, lower low. Then again the price broke structure over here. You get me? And then we continue. The same applies to here. This was higher high, higher low, higher high. Then the price again broke the structure over here. So these are the breaks of structure. Oh, these are the breaks. This is the break of structure. Also this one is the break of structure. And if you look here, also this one, this was lower low, lower high. This was lower high, higher highs. Then lower high. Then the price went past and make this one at the break of what? At the break of structure over here. So this one is the broken structure. This one is the broken structure. This one is the broken structure. And this one is the broken structure. Also this one is the broken structure. Okay, I think now you see many examples. Also, if you look here, this was lower low, I mean this was higher low, higher high, lower high, higher high, then the price went past and it broken this one. You cannot say this one, we say this. Why do we say that? Because the broken structure or this one, for this were just noise. So if you look well, this was the broken structure. I think you get the point now. If you look to another trade, another let's say take a look on this one. If you look at the APY here, if you look at the GPY by using line chart, this was low, this was high, this was low, then the price is broken over here. So the price when it broken here, and this one become the broker structure over here. Then when you making series of lower high, higher highs, lower high, higher highs, lower high, higher highs, lower high, higher highs. After then we broke another structure over here. I think you got the point. Now, after seeing those breakout structure, now let's take a look. How does the breakout structure help us? The breakout structure helps us the following way. It helps us to identify which phase are we in. Since we have continuation price, we have liquidation phase, and we have impassive phase. If you take a look over here, you can see well, all this was from here, from this point over here, from this point over here, from this point over here to here. Sorry, let me draw fresh. From this point, all this one you see, all this was impassive phase. What followed was correction phase. After correction phase, what continued was continuation phase. After continuation phase, what happened was liquidation phase. After liquidation phase, what happened? It was another continuation phase. Like you see here, this was another continuation phase. Now, I will take more time to look at here, to this structure over here. Like I said, breakout structure help us to identify which phase are we in. For instance, we are having the series of lower high, higher highs, lower high, higher highs, lower high, higher highs. And for that case, now we wanted to know, when are we going to shift this phase to enter another phase? For instance, it might be here. Maybe you might be taking this trade over here. You might be taking this trade over here. This one. Okay? But you are not sure of something. And you see this break over here. And you see this break over here, making series of higher highs, higher low, higher highs, then it broke in the structure. So this one, when you saw this, it was the first indication for you to tell you that I'm going, or I have finished this movement here, this impassive movement over here. And it's come in mind that okay, I have finished this impassive movement. What do I expect? I'm expecting correction. Okay, and like you see, the correction happened around here. After correction happened, what were you waiting for? We were just waiting for another continuation around here. In case you missed this one, and now you are looking for another potential area of taking another trade, since you know that you are in a bullish trend. After this impassive move was over, what next would you do? You just look for another trade. This was due to the breaking of this lower low. I mean higher low, higher highs, higher low, higher highs, higher low, higher highs. Then they broke the price, broke the structure here. This is higher high, lower low, higher high, lower low, higher high. Then the price broke the structure around here. So the breaking of this structure was an indication for you that we have finished this impassive phase and we are expecting correction phase. You can either take an advantage for that correction phase or just wait for 50 minutes invalidation or 30 minutes invalidation around here, and you take this as a buy trade. Okay guys, I think now you get the point of breakout structure and how breakout structure significant it is. Yeah, for more questions you can just hit our DM for more explanation.